Right then, in this video I'm going to be visiting the city of Sfax in Tunisia. Now, Sfax is Tunisia's second city, and it's quite a large city with a population of 340,000. But there's very little about it online, which I thought was a bit weird. It seems to be a very off the beaten track sort of destination, somewhere that tourists do not visit. So I just had to go there to take a look at what is in this city. So let the adventure begin. And I start off in Sousse at the railway station, where I wait for my train to Sfax, which is very late. While I was waiting, there's this very knackered DMU being dragged by a loco. So the DMU cannot run itself, it has to get pulled. So using a DMU just as wagons basically for a diesel loco. So this DMU does not run. It has to get pulled by a loco, that's how bad it is. And eventually my train pulled into the station. Once the train had finally started leaving the station, it was now 1 hour and a quarter late. And there's very few trains per day. So you can see that this railway is pretty knackered. Anyway, I'm now on my 2-hour train journey down to Sfax. Let's take a look around this train. This door is meant to be locked. One of the brake lines is dangling. It's rough. Fucking hell, look at my toilet. Don't ask me why, it makes no sense. Look at that. That is fucked. Okay, later on in the journey, now the doors are wide open, so not shut at all. That's fucked. Door buttons. Again. And along I go into Sfax. This city is actually pretty big, as it's 5 miles from the outskirts of the city into the centre. But the train does not stop until the main railway station in the centre. However, it goes very slowly, partly so it doesn't hit anything at many level crossings where all the car drivers just whiz in front of a train, and it's also going slow, so if anyone actually wants the outskirts rather than the city centre, they can jump out of the train while it's moving. Very slowly into the city centre. Oh, I want to ride that loco. I'm just not confident enough to step across that, because if you fall, you're falling under all the wheels, so I'm just not confident to step over it. And there is no control from this loco to the rear engine. You've got one set of power there on the left, that's just power for your lights in the train. Dodgy, fucking dodgy this place. So here I am at Sfax railway station. Guards wagon. And that's what they call disabled access, people with wood on the tracks. So here's the main ticket hall of Sfax. Wow, smashed window. Main station hall, and look how many windows are smashed. So that's my train. It's meant to leave at 10:15, left at 11:30, hour quarter late. Got to Sfax, so it's meant to get here at 12:30. It's got here again an hour quarter late, 1:45 it's got here, so very late. And for way back there is no trains. The last train missed that. That's the last one. And if I did get it, I have no time here, it'd be straight back again. So turns out I hadn't missed the train back. That's your 1 o'clock train back, arriving an hour late at 2 o'clock. And that's your last train of the day. So I could get it back, but I don't get to explore the city if I do that, so obviously I'm not going to do it. But fucking hell. I thought Montenegro's hours were bad. This is actually worse. Look at the speed. Tracks must be so bad it has to go out slow. Only 2 trains a day heading further south than Sfax. So there's literally only 2 trains a day going that way, and going the other way I think it's about 5 trains a day heading towards Tunisia. 3 mile an hour. They need to look after their railways better. They need to just look after them better. Not good enough, really. Look at that. Fucking hell. State of that. And the rear door's open, don't you lock the rear door? Wow, very slow. That red signal. Haven't even bothered to set a signal for it. That's fucked. I walk faster and that's so slow. There's some track prom up there which I have to go slow over. That is so slow. So let's now explore the city. Well, trees and now display items, display stuff of. That's an interesting way of doing it, just attached up to a tree. Because it looks better than just having them in a big container like that. And let's take a look at the first lift. Now this is what I wanted. 2-speed and a bit old. That's more what I wanted. Oh, that feels good. Kilogram button. That's the button. Fan does nothing, but fan's a bit wobbly. Fucking hell. And along to the only modern part of the city centre, which looks like this. And the lifts in these buildings are very cheap and rather knackered. What is this? Fucking hell. So that's your buttons. One is a bit fucked. Stop. Does nothing. That one's missing. So one, you just press that. This is fucked. I feel a bit rough. Five, even though a bit on 8. Fucking hell. How do you just know it's going to look terrible on top? Look at that. Wires hanging loose. Look at the absolute mess. Oh my days, the absolute... And in the next building, the lift has got very loud knackered bearings on the motor. So this lift might have a Zinder motor. It sounds a bit like it, really bad bearing on it. Okay, ignore the fan sounds. I can't... That motor sound is separate to the fan sound. Oh, that sounds bad. That sounds absolutely terrible. Oh, that sounds bad. A little shopping centre. Wow. That's fucked. Verona. So press down, is this up to go up? That tells you everything. And now let's take a look at an abandoned building site. This building was never completed, but the main concrete frame of the building is completed. And this means I actually get to see what the main structural concrete of the building is actually like. And it is bad. On the inside, there's not that many uprights, although you've got a middle core. The middle core looks pretty well built, so I'll give it that. But then if you look up, the floors are not solid concrete. See the red infills? Those are those red infill bricks. So it's like very basic concrete with the red bricks in between to infill the gaps in the concrete. That's not very good. That's fallen over. It looks like construction stopped and the crane is fucking rusty. Look at the state of that. That is absolutely knackered. One of those fold-up cranes that folds up onto a truck. Not my sort of thing, I've had proper ones, but it's not looking great. Probably third hand. Probably failed health and safety in Paris, so it couldn't run in France anymore, so they moved it over to Tunisia, where they don't care so much. That's a bit fucked. I mean, the core's pretty good, although it's very rough on the outer edge, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to not be seen. There's your lifts, yeah, they started construction and they gave up. They haven't even got any steps down into that level. I know it's just the under concrete, not a finished thing, but they've not done a good job at building that. So this bit I'm walking on, fucking hell, that doesn't look very well supported. That doesn't look very well supported at all. All that, holy shit. Try the other side, it looks no better on the other side. Look at that red infill. Oh, that's horrible when you look at it up close. That's just infill. All that red is not structurally supportive. Very slightly better on this side. Well, maybe not. I don't trust walking up this. I really don't trust it. Brand new. Holy shit, that looks bad. Fucking hell. Don't know how you get to the upper floors. No staircase any higher. But fuck that concrete. It's brand newly built. And they went abandoned during construction. Now concrete was so weak. That generally terrifies me. And the thing is, if they'd completed this, they would have just covered it up. You wouldn't know, they'd literally just cover it up. You wouldn't know how bad the quality was. This is generally absolutely fucked. And the upright, that's pretty good. The upright's good. We'll give it that. The upright's looking nice. Like, that's a solid central core. That's pretty good, even though you can see I use wood as the mould. So you can see it's a really rough finish. But that doesn't matter. The quality is fine for how good the concrete is at. It's just some of these exterior bits. And along to the hospitals. As well as the main public hospital, there's also the private hospital shopping centre thing. It's literally like a shopping centre. You go in and you go to whatever shop unit is providing a medical service which you need. This feels very capitalistic in a way I don't like, but later on when you see the actual hospital, you'll see why this exists. So Medical City's right next to the actual hospital. Okay, let's go to 6. Gonna work or not? Yeah. Oh, 6th floor's not glass. So this is not a hospital. Then you've got Centre of Radiology. I wouldn't trust that's properly shielded. I would not want to live next to that because I just have a bad feeling. And knowing this country, that's probably not shielded to the extent it should be. So that's your private hospital. Let's now compare it to the public hospital. And now let's take a look at the actual hospital. So you see, public hospital is a lot more spread out, very less commercial looking. And there's all the solar panels on all the roofs. It's a real Gaza feel, like seeing out like big solar panels on the roof. It's like scenes out of Gaza. So I went to different bits of this hospital and didn't find many lifts. I actually only found one lift in the entire hospital, which is an Arona which wasn't working. Now, one thing that really creeped me out about this hospital was the smell. I'm used to hospitals smelling very strongly of disinfectant and cleaning fluids, but this one, it did not smell good. I don't know how to describe that smell. It was so vile, it made me want to puke. It almost kind of smelled like body fluids had been left there for such a long time and gone stale and mouldy. They've never been cleaned up. But anyway, let's now take a look at the Medina, which is the alleyway city. A lot of these African cities have Medinas, but they're usually very touristy, full of people trying to sell you stuff, especially when they see you're not local. They go in for the hard sell. You can't just relax in a Medina and walk around and enjoy it, because they're very interesting places, but the pushy salespeople are very off-putting. But that is not the case in Sfax, and that's because tourists do not visit this city. Meaning this is one of the few places in Africa where you can actually see an actual real working Medina. Unlike in Morocco, where they say it's a working Medina but it's now just been taken over with touristy shops, this Medina is fully authentic, exactly how an Arabic Medina works without the tourists. And just for that, I'd recommend you visit this, as it's generally nice not to see the tourist shit everywhere and you just see how Medinas actually function with all the people rushing around the alleyways. It's not the biggest Medina, but I would say it's the most authentic. That's what about 29p gets you in olives. Better value than in Jordan. Oh, look at this, it's a bit rough. Oh, look at this. Oh, there's the mosque. There's a speaker for that, it's loud. Fucking loud. I want to live next to that. That's for a boarding one, it'll wake you up. All these mosques are trying to outcompete each other. Pray as loud as possible because they're trying to blast their prayers louder than the neighbouring mosque. Fucking hell, that's loud, that one. What the fuck is Best Baby? So then, the city of Sfax is pretty big, 340,000 people and 5 miles from the centre to the outskirts. Yet when I walked out of the centre, the rest of the city seemed rather faceless. There's loads of rather small, very cheaply built residential buildings but nothing really interesting for me to see. So I don't really understand this city. Loads of people have said there's not much here and it seems like it might be true. So then, it's now time for me to leave Sfax and go back to Seuss. But the last train of the day departed at, well, it's meant to be 1 o'clock, we actually departed 2 o'clock. How on earth am I going to get back? Well, it seems I'll have to use the share taxi. On my first trip to Tunisia, this is something where I really fucked up. Because 3 years ago back in Tunisia, when I was trying to work out what transport to take, everyone just kept directing me, oh, get a taxi. And they took me to this taxi place that charged, well, quite a lot because it was just for an individual taxi. That's one of the things that's annoying about Tunisia, is people assume that if you're not local, you must be rich. But in fact, there's actually loads of cheap transport in Tunisia. You just have to turn down all the taxi rubbish and do what the locals do. Share a taxi. So I go along to the share taxi station and it looks like this. Now these are smaller than the microbuses in Egypt. Maybe I should call these the nano bus, the tiniest bus imaginable, which is pretty much just a car. These are actually pretty frequent, although you do have to be aware that after sunset most of Tunisia shuts down because it's a Muslim country. They work a lot more to the hours of the sun. Morning prayers is literally just before sunrise, so most people are awake just before sunrise, meaning people go to bed early. So unlike in England, you regularly see people out till like midnight, in Tunisia, once it's sunset, the cities go dead. So I went to the share taxi station literally just at sunset and I had to wait about 20 minutes for a taxi. If you get one in the daytime, you'll be waiting less than 5 minutes. So back along I go to Seuss, and it took half the time in the share taxi than it did on the train.